Hello pals, today you're getting a bit of a rare video from me. I don't do these very often, but lately I have acquired quite a few books. And I have this big old stack beside me, so I'm gonna let you know what I've been adding to my shelves of late. So these are in no particular order, I'm just gonna work through my stack. First things first then, the winner of this year's Booker Prize, Orbital. I'm not a massive prize reader, but this one really piqued my interest. It's a very short book, I think it's only about 160-ish pages, and we follow a group of astronauts as they're orbiting the Earth, and I believe in this book it follows them as they orbit 16 times. And I hear it's very literary sci-fi, so it's not your typical sci-fi. It's not really plot based, it's not plot heavy. It's very meditative, very philosophical, and it's something that I'm really looking forward to reading. So I believe I'm going to pick this one up very soon. Have any of you read it? Do you agree that it should have been the Booker Prize winner? Let me know in the comments below. The next book I have here then is a book that I have previously read, and my partner Sean gifted this to me, so I have Rewitched by Lucy Jane Wood. And this book I got as an ARC, and I always feel a little bit reluctant to buy books that I've enjoyed but have read already. It seems a little bit wasteful, but at the same time I did really enjoy this book. I think the cover is absolutely beautiful. So we follow a girl named Belle, and she is a witch, but she has essentially lost her magic a little bit, lost her way. She's working in a bookshop. As we're drawing toward her 30th birthday, she needs to make a decision about whether or not she wants to be part of this witchy world anymore. There are some trials, there are some really quirky sidekicks along the way. It's a really cozy, nice book, and I believe that there is another book coming out in this world next September, so I'm really looking forward to that one. Next up then is a book that I left Ireland and bought, but it's a very quintessentially Irish book, and that book is Brooklyn by Colm Tóibín. So this book is pretty infamous because it has a film based on it, and I believe that we follow a girl who is Irish but lives in Brooklyn, meets somebody, but then for some reason has to return home and kind of has to make a decision between her two lives. And this is a very literary book. I've read, sadly, only one Colm Tóibín book before, and I need to fix that. I am really looking forward to this one, and he obviously released Long Island this year, which is a follow-up to this, and I hope to get to that next year after finishing this one. Next up then are a couple of books that my partner gave to me. They're books of his that he's getting rid of because he's downsizing, and naturally I'm like, yeah, I'll have those because they are books that I actually do want to read. And there's two books here essentially that go together, but they're part of the Kingkiller Chronicles, and those are basically The Name of the Wind and The Wise Man's Fear. So The Name of the Wind is the first book, and these books are notorious for being brilliant but also for being disappointingly unfinished. So I don't know if this is a series I want to start anytime soon, but I have heard incredible things about this first book. Do I know what it's about? Of course I don't. I have stolen princesses back from sleeping Barrow kings. I burned down the town of Treban. I've spent the night with Felurian and left with both my sanity and my life. I was expelled from the university at a younger age than most people are allowed in. I tread paths by moonlight that others fear to speak of during day. I have talked to gods, loved women, and written songs that make the minstrels weep. My name is Kvothe. You may have heard of me. That tells me nothing, but I'm okay with that. It's got a map in the front. That's all I need. It's high fantasy, I believe, anyway, and I'm excited for it. And then next up again is a book from Sean's shelves, but it was initially on my shelves and he borrowed it because he wanted to read it and had it for a few years and still hasn't read it, so I took it back. And that is Song of Solomon by Toni Morrison. I have shockingly never read any Toni Morrison before. Beloved is on my shelves. Sean gave me this book many moons ago because it was a book that was highly recommended by Sarah Winman, who is one of my all-time top favourite authors. I honestly don't actually know what it's about. Surprise, surprise. Song of Solomon begins in 1930s America with Macon Dead Jr., the son of a wealthy black property owner who has been brought up to revere the white world. McCann learns about the tyranny of white society from his friend Guitar, though he is more concerned with escaping the familial tyranny of his own father. So while Guitar joins a terrorist group of poor blacks, McCann goes home to the south, lured by tales of buried family treasure. But his odyssey back home and a deadly confrontation with Guitar leads to the discovery of something infinitely more valuable than gold: his past and the origins of his true self. This is obviously a literary book. Also, I just realised it's incredibly floppy, which we enjoy in this house. I've definitely been feeling myself drawn a lot more towards literary sort of works lately. I've been reading a lot of fantasy. I'm not going to stop reading fantasy anytime soon, but I was originally a literary fiction person, a big fan of lit fic, and didn't read a whole lot of anything else. In fact, in my teens I absolutely hated fantasy. Sorry, I know, what was wrong with me? I am really looking forward to this. I don't know if I should pick up this one first or Beloved first. Let me know if you have any opinions down in the comments below. Next up then is a book that isn't out yet, and it was sent to me by Vintage, and that book is a book called The Fisherman's Gift. So I have a proof of it. It is out on the 6th of March next year in the UK and Ireland. It was something that really appealed for me, so I asked could I have a copy. There's something about book sets in sort of small villages or rural areas, like on the coast. It's a really niche thing, but I tend to just really enjoy them. This is a historical book, I believe. So winter 1900, a little boy washes up on the beach of a small fishing village in Scotland, barely alive. He bears an uncanny resemblance to the son of Dorothy, the teacher lost to the sea many years before. When the village is snowed in, Dorothy agrees to look after the child until he can be returned home. But as the past rises to meet the present, long buried secrets in this small community start to come to light, like the snowdrops pushing up through the ice, and Dorothy finds herself thrown together again with the reclusive fisherman Joseph after years of keeping their distance. And it also says it is bursting with tension and tenderness. This is an exquisite love story that delves into the griefs and hopes that can lie behind village gossip. There's something about books that are described as tender that seem to always get me. Again, this feels like it's going to be a very literary novel, and I'm just really excited to read it, but I'm going to leave this one until probably January. Next up then is another infamous fantasy written by a female author, and this one is The Fifth Season by N.K. Jemisin. It needs absolutely no introduction, I am sure. This is the first book in the Broken Earth trilogy. Again, something that I know absolutely nothing about. It is the winner of the Hugo Award. It is something that comes really highly recommended by fantasy fans, and I'll read a little bit of what it says in this blurb here. This is what you must remember. The ending of one story is just the beginning of another. This has happened before after all. People die, old orders pass, and new societies are born. When we say the world has ended, it's usually a lie because the planet is just fine. But this is the way the world ends. This is the way the world ends. This is the way the world ends. For the last time. The fifth season. Next up then is one that seems to have been a bit of everywhere this year, and it is White Nights by Dostoevsky. So I have read one Dostoevsky, and that was probably about 15 years ago, and that was Notes from Underground, and I don't have any great recollection of it, so I must not have felt super into it or super hated it either, because it's just blanked in my brain now. But White Nights is a collection of 2 stories written by the man himself, and I believe that there is quite a bit of heartbreak in here. It's really tiny, it's really short, and it's something I've been meaning to pick up for a really long time, so I did, and I'm going to read it sometime in the not too distant future. Next up then, I keep saying that I want to read more sci-fi because it's something that I have really enjoyed but haven't quite delved into properly just yet. And while in Scotland, I said, hey, let's pick up a book by a Scottish author that's in the sci-fi genre. So I did. So I picked up Consider Phlebas, I believe it's pronounced, I don't know, by Ian M. Banks, and this is part of the Culture series, and I have heard again nothing but impeccable things about these novels, and I believe it's like space sci-fi. I feel like I've read a lot of cozy sci-fi and a lot of sort of light sci-fi and literary sci-fi, but I think this is just Sci-fi. War rages across the galaxy. Billions have died, billions more are doomed. Moons, planets, the very stars themselves face cold-blooded, brutal destruction. The Idirans fight for their faith, the culture for its moral right to exist. Principles are at stake and there can be no surrender. Within this cosmic conflict, a crucial battle of wits is waged. Deep within a fabled labyrinth on a planet of the dead, forbidden to mortals, lies a fugitive mind, with a capital M. Both the culture and the Idirans desperately seek it. It is the faith of Horza, the Changer, and his motley crew of unpredictable mercenaries, human and machine, to actually find it. And with it, their own destruction. We have another floppy book as well, which is nice. I actually hadn't read the back of that before now, and I didn't know what it was about. I just knew it was a up in space novel. And these are the kind of books that used to really intimidate me and put me off, but lately I just feel so drawn to them. So I'm going to give this one a go, and I have really quite high hopes for it. I really hope that I enjoy it, because I feel like sci-fi is something that I will enjoy, but just that I've been a bit nervous of, because I feel like maybe I'm a little bit stupid for it. I'm not stupid, but sometimes things sciencey and logical go a bit over my head. So we'll give this one a go and see how we get on. Next up then, I have two books by the same author, and they were both the first book in different series. So the first one I'm going to talk about is The Shadow of What Was Lost by James Islington. So this is a bit of a chunk, and it is the beginning of the Lacanius trilogy, apparently. I probably completely pronounced that wrong. Again, what is this actually about? There's no blurb on the back. There is a little passage on the inside here where he said, in vague surprise, swinging the door wide enough to let his blonde-haired friend's athletic frame through. "What are you doing here?" Weir didn't move to enter, his usually cheerful expression uneasy, and Davian's stomach churned as he suddenly understood why the other boy had come. Weir gave a rueful nod when he saw Davian's reaction. "They found him, Dav. He's downstairs. They're waiting for us." Davian swallowed. "They want to do it now?" Weir just nodded again. Davian hesitated, but he knew that there was no point delaying. He took a deep breath, then extinguished his lamp and trailed after Weir down the spiral staircase. Again, I have no idea what that was about, but I'm sure as heck gonna read it. I have heard, again, really good things about this. This one was published before the next one. So the next one, which is The Will of the Many by the same author, James Islington. This one was published, was it 2024? It was quite recently anyway, and this is the first book in the Hierarchy series, and this has been going down a treat, if the internet is to be believed. And I feel really excited to read this, but again, I don't know what it's about. It's definitely a fantasy. The Catanan Republic, the hierarchy, may rule the world now, but they don't know everything. I tell them my name is Vis Telemus. I tell them I was orphaned after a tragic accident 3 years ago, and that good fortune alone has led to my acceptance into their most prestigious school. I tell them that once I graduate, I will gladly join the rest of civilized society in allowing my strength, my drive, and my focus, what they call will, to be leached away and added to the power of those above me, as millions already do, as all must eventually do. I tell them that I belong, and they believe me, but the truth is that I've been sent to the academy to find answers, to solve a murder, to search for an ancient weapon, to uncover secrets that may tear the Republic apart, and that I will never ever cede my will to the empire that executed my family. To survive, though, I will still have to rise through the academy's ranks. I will have to smile and make friends and pretend to be one of them and win, because if I cannot, then those who want to control me, who know my real name, will no longer have any use for me. And if the hierarchy finds out who I truly am, they will kill me. So that is The Will of the Many by James Islington. And so friends, those are all of the books that I have added to my shelves in the past. While most of them I didn't buy myself, I'm really trying to not buy books this year, but I absolutely was not going to turn down free books when they were offered to me, when they're books that I do actually really want to read. And so here we are. Let me know if you have read any of those books, what you think of them. What should I start with? What should I go for first? Let me know in the comments below. We're coming into December and it's getting chilly, so if you want to leave a comment but you don't know what to leave me a little wintry emoji, whatever you can think of yourself. Be creative. And otherwise, if you want to see more from me and you want to see how I get on with these books, do hit that subscribe button. And as ever, thanks so much for watching, and I'll chat to you soon in another video. In case you're worried, there will be a video up on Sunday. This is just a bit of a bonus. Thanks, pal. Talk to you soon. Bye bye.